Am I correct that when you went to college, your first major was journalism?
Yes. I mean, I studied journalism for a year,
Okay.
and then I realized that it was as crazy as studying cinema.
Well, you must have been drawn to storytelling. What kind of stories did you think you would write as a journalist, and how did that transition you into screenwriting?
Actually, it was like just finding a way to fool my parents on my
Into
way
paying
to.
for college?
No, just to because I belong to a generation that went back to film schools after dictatorship. So when that happened, Chilean cinema was almost non-existent. So um, I just I, I'm part of that generation that we had films inside, but there wasn't really an industry. And still now, we have a very fragile industry. But back then, it was just insane to even think of making a film. And yeah, so journalism seemed like the closest thing to filmmaking back then.
Where does your choice of story come from? How did you arrive at this one?
Um, well, it's always hard to answer that because it's always intuition. You know, it's like it's like those people that are looking for water with the wooden sticks, and sometimes they stop and they say,
Divining rod.
"Here."
Yeah.
It's just like that. I mean, it's like I don't know. At some point, I made three smaller films before I made a film called Gloria, um, and and that was my first film, like about a woman, like
Gloria
a
was.
proper woman character study, and that opened like a door in me, and I cannot explain it, but I've been very moved and excited and challenged by this idea of making these films about women that are somehow um, I don't know, like not at the center of society or representation, or and bring them to the absolute center, and say, you know, to them, you are a film, you know, which is the case in A Fantastic Woman. It's taking someone that society rejects and bring her to the absolute center and film her like doing a love letter to her. You know,
Yeah,
that's the
very
game
much.
of the film.
I feel like you see when you write, it's like you see visuals in addition to writing great words. Like that's a big part of telling the story.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very grateful to Daniela Vega, the actress. I'm so very proud of her and what she did.
She's amazing.
Yeah, she's amazing. At the beginning, she was. I didn't know if I really wanted to make the film, so I was like exploring, meeting some transgender women, and then they said to me, "You have to meet Daniela. She has some acting experience. She's a lyrical singer student. She is fantastic." So I met her, and I asked her to be a cultural consultant. Um, and she very generously accepted. So we became friends, and I live in Berlin, so Skype friends. And during a year, we were like talking, and I was writing with my co-writer, and suddenly, almost without noticing, the script started to absorb many things that were coming from Daniela,
I wondered about
like
that.
the lyrical singing aspect. And but at some point in the writing process, and this is related to your question, I stumbled with the idea of why not making a transgenre film about a transgender woman, and that was like a like wow, like
That's a mouthful.
that opened many
Yeah.
possibilities, like new territories. And that's why I'm so grateful, because Daniela was pushing things farther, and I was trying to make a script that was as complex and as hopefully beautiful as she is, and she was challenging me so much, and I was trying to come back with something complex, and fascinating as she is. So at the end of the process, when we had the first draft, I sent it to her, and I offered her to play the main role, and that's how it happened. It was super organic, and so I had no idea that when I met my cultural consultant, I was meeting my star.
Your star.
Yeah.
Was she reluctant when you offered? Because she obviously you
Oh,
had courted
yeah.
her as the star.
No, she said, "Did you go crazy? Like,
Yeah. What?
You're nuts." I said, and then she went. She says that she went partying, and then the next day she called back and said, "Okay, I will do it."
I feel like it has so many things to say, and I'm curious if there's a point that you would like to make or something that you would like to say about it, but no one's ever asked you that question.
Not really, because I do believe that films should be more like a question than like an answer. I truly believe that like cinema is a device for asking, not for answering.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah. So in that sense, the film itself is a big question. The film itself is poses the question, what is a woman? And to me as a filmmaker, it poses the question, what is a film?
Mm-hmm.
So the character's identity is being judged and by everyone, and her presence oscillates all the time in the screen.
Mm-hmm.
So you are seeing several things at the same time. It's like a great receptor for your fantasies, fears, desires, and projections.
Yes. She oscillates and the film oscillates, and it is trans-genre.
Yeah, well, that's what I was trying to express, that in a certain way, the film's identity, it's deeply connected with her. The film's own identity is oscillating as well, and doesn't want to be labeled in one easy gesture.
Yes.
It's in a certain way, it's a film against labels.
And thank you for sharing your film with us.
Thank you.